Yo, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and today we're going to talk to you guys about a letter that I saw posted on a friend of mine's Facebook page. Her name is Nyesha Troutman. She has a podcast that she does every Wednesday at 8 p.m. that is geared towards relationships. And she also do a live event called Stems and Stimulation. So I want to give her all the credit for what I saw posted on her page. So if you guys are interested, go check it out, join her page, become a friend, join the podcast. Now, the letter that was submitted was by a gentleman who is very expressive in his word choice. And we're going to try to skip through some of the words, but I'm not going to read you the entire letter. There's just two main sections that I want to talk to you guys about. We're going to look at one section, talk about it, look at another section, and then talk about it as well. So, here we go. What the gentleman says is that a relationship is not just a thing, it's a job. It's a job that you just can't come in and do the bare minimum and expect fruit to bear. You need to show up to that MF every day like you want to be there. You enjoy being there. You love being there. You need to over exceed expectations on your monthly, daily, hourly reports, not just meet some requirements. Right? Now, here's the thing. You guys know that I've talked to you about that many times before, that we treat relationships as if there's something that will always be there in your life. Like you know that if you don't show up for your job, that they're going to fire you. If you don't do exceedingly well at the job, then you're not going to be the one to get promoted. You're going to watch people that you train get promoted. And I want you to think about that for just a second. The people you train tend to get promoted over you because you're not exceeding expectations. Each one of you, even myself, has had that experience where you're with somebody. You teach them. You train them. You show them how to have a great relationship. But then all of a sudden they leave you, and then they go off and they get married and they have that great relationship with somebody else. You've experienced that before, or maybe you are that person who was in a relationship and you were taken for granted. They didn't treat you right. They didn't show you the love and kindness, the consideration, all the things that you told them that you receive, how you receive love. They didn't show that to you. But then you go off to the next person, now have learned from that experience, and you have a great relationship. Aren't you tired of being in that situation? Aren't you sick of being in that situation? Aren't you tired of seeing other people have the love and the life that you believe that you should have for yourself? I mean, you put in the work with this guy, you put in the work with that girl, but yet it seems like they're the ones who went off and had the great relationship. But did you ever ask yourself the question, what did I do or what did I not do? When they expressed what they needed to have in a relationship, did I fulfill what they needed? Did I look at things that they said that made them feel love and think about it as it being ridiculous, and didn't go ahead and do what's necessary, and then allow them to go off and then have another relationship with somebody who recognized that even their ridiculous is important. Even the things that they are saying, even the things that they want, even the way you touch them, the way you look at them, the words you speak to them, the tone that you use, that you ignored all those things, but you see that person is getting it from someone else, someone who recognized how important that is to the other person. And too often we get caught up into two different things. We get caught up into how we express love and how we receive love, and expect the other person to receive it and express it the same way. Or the other part, which is worse, we get caught up into our own hypnotic rhythm. Our own hypnotic rhythm of how we were in a previous relationship, how we've been in all of our relationship. I want to cut you guys to the core right now, or as they say, cut you to the quick. Most people are treating their current relationships the same way they treated their previous relationship. The same way you love your ex is the same way you're loving your current. The same way you took care of your ex is the same way you're taking care of your current. Now, we like to say that I'm not my ex, I'm not your ex. We always like to say these things. But too often, you are acting the same way in this relationship that you was acting in your previous relationship. You're acting just like on a job. You get a new job, and after a while, that new job is just as bad as your old job. Well, the reason why is because you're still the same person that was at the old job over at the new job. You're still the same person in the new relationship that you were at the old relationship. You still looking at him or her the same way you looked at your ex. That's why you're not doing any better in your relationship. And your relationship is going to head down the same path. It's just like when you get that new relationship. Yeah, everything's great. But then what happens? everything start going downhill. You start getting into a little rut. You start living in your hypnotic rhythm. And as long as you get into your hypnotic rhythm, your relationship is going to end the exact same way as the previous relationship. If you was unloving in the previous relationship, you're going to be unloving in this one unless you make a change. If you didn't take care of the ridiculous in the previous relationship, you're not going to take care of the ridiculous in your current relationship. And I know you can say that maybe they love differently, but you're still the same you. You're still the same you. If the same you is not focused on how to make that person happy, if the same you is not focused on how to make sure that your monthly reports with your mate are exceeding expectations, then guess what? That person is still going to feel the same way. And then eventually, you're going to end up by yourself the same way that you are right now, or that you're heading into, or that you've previously been. Now, there's another part of his letter. I just want to hit this part real quick, because it's how you go into the next relationship. And you know how when you go get that job, you write that resume, you make yourself look real good, right? So he says, I don't get what some of you are trying to accomplish, advertising your accolades and your qualities, yet get into a relationship and be totally effing and utterly sugar honey iced tea after a month's time. We often leave a relationship thinking that the other person did us wrong. We leave that relationship thinking that we are the best thing since sliced bread. But we're coming out of that with our own problems, with our own hypnotic rhythm that we were in that caused that relationship to end. I will always say that and look for what did I do wrong in my previous relationship before I blame the other person. Now, you should accept and realize what they did that was wrong. And some things are so blatant that they're inexcusable. This is true. But when a person is disrespectful to you in a relationship, if a person, and they weren't in the beginning, if a person is abusive to you in a relationship and they weren't in the beginning, I don't mean physically abusive. If somebody's physically abusive, then that's just wrong, period. But when somebody is not, when they're mentally abusive in the sense that they're not showing you the care and consideration that they showed you in the beginning, ask yourself, what did you change? Ask yourself, what were you not doing? Ask yourself how you stopped doing those things you did in the very beginning. Because I will guarantee you that it is not all on them. I can point out many, 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 many different things that I did wrong in every relationship that I was in. I can recognize what causal factors that I implemented that had a negative effect on the relationship. But most people don't do that. We just sing our praises. We just sing our accolades. We just say that, I treated him or her like they were the king and the queen, and I did this and I did that, and I always was there, and they never had to want for anything. We say that, but yet they wanted for something. They wanted for something that wasn't provided. They wanted for something that you ignored. So before you run off with your accolades to the next person, so you put that little resume out there that got a whole bunch of embellishments on it, you need to retract some of that and look deeply in the mirror at yourself and say, okay, who am I really in a relationship? So that when you go to the next one, that's what you advertise. So that the person doesn't come up with some false hopes and a false sense of who you are, so that they know exactly what they're getting so they can make an informed decision. The worst thing a person can do is make a decision based on some embellishments, and then once they get into the reality of it, they see that it was all false advertisements, and then once they see it's false advertisements, now they feel stuck because they've committed this time, they committed this energy. They don't want to be negative towards you or leave you, but it all starts to roll, and after a while, that little snowball becomes an avalanche, and then the relationship is over. But it really was over a long time ago. It was over a long time ago when it first started. So let's just first be real with ourselves, recognize who we really are. And then if there is something about you that you want to change, then make the effort to change it. Even if in the relationship you tell the person, like, look, this is who I was, this is who I am, and I really don't like that person. I really want to change, and I want to be this person. And then if you can help me, then I want you to help me. It's not going to be an easy road, and I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to have regressions, but I want you to, can you stick by me and work through this process? Ask those questions. Let's be straight up and informative with each other so that people can know exactly what they're getting and what they're willing to work through and what they're willing not to work through, because some people may not want to work through your issues or your baggage. But if you really want to have a great relationship, find out exactly how that person received love, find out exactly what's important to that person, and then do it. Just do it. Nike said it best, just do it. Stop all this BSing about you don't have time, BS about I'm tired, or that's just not something I like, or whatever it is. If you want to be with a person and you know these are the things that makes them feel love, then just freaking do it or get out of a relationship. one or the other. And if you can't do that for anybody, then just be by yourself. Get yourself a whole bunch of cats and dogs and live like that, or whatever it is. But leave humans alone. Leave humans alone if you can't be, if you can't do, if you can't look at all the different things that goes into a relationship and look at it that the relationship is more important than your job. If the relationship is not more important than your job, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. Just be in a relationship with your job and call it a day. All right? But that truly is how you're going to get to a successful relationship. Other than that, you can have a long-term relationship. Y'all can be together for a very long time. But are you happy? Is it exciting? Do you feel romantically inclined towards that person? Do you want to give that person the best life that you can possibly give them? Are you willing to go out and grind for them and make sure that they have the best life ever? If you're not feeling that way, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. And to me, it's not even worth having. So I'm just asking you guys, based on that letter, based on what this man said, how do you treat your relationship? Is your relationship less important than your job or not? Because your job fire you real quick. Relationship take a little bit longer. But which one's more important? And what are you willing to do to have a great relationship? That's the other question. What are you willing to do? Who are you willing to be? What is it? Because all your excuses are just that. They're excuses. And in the Marine Corps, like we always like to say, excuses are like assholes. Everybody got one, and they all stink. This has been your Coach Renz. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable.